Hello, and welcome back to the IVF Daddies podcast. My name is Julio,
My name is Richard. Hello, welcome back.
and today we're going to talk about something that a lot of people have talked about and asked, and it seemed really obvious at the beginning, but then I realized that men do not breastfeed. So we're going to talk about formula.
Yeah, and this topic has come about. First of all, actually, I want to say thank you. There's a number of you that send us DMs that have asked us questions. That means a lot. It's really shows that there's impact. I'm very honored and happy to answer those questions. And one of those was about formula. The question came about, did you give your twins breast milk or formula? And I was, as usual when we're talking to Julio, I'm like, no, it was obvious. We just went straight to formula. And he was like, why is that obvious? I always say, obviously. And he's, to you, it's obvious. To other people, it isn't. So hence this whole conversation today. Actually, on that note, if you've got questions that you do want to ask, then we can do podcasts on it. So please ask.
And also, I asked the question because I remember in Venezuela, where I was born, just talking about formula for women. It was like a stigma. It's like putting your kid on formula is not a good thing. I've heard everything like not breastfeeding is what gives you cavities or weak bones, or from all this process, from all the fertility events and all the IVF and surrogacy conferences that I've been, I've never seen like a formula company or anything. And if you have kids with two men, you will definitely like, how did closest question will be to you, like when you had the babies. I remember I asked you and then you gave me a breakdown if it was so easy and quick to have formula. But when you have the babies and the baby's born, normally the baby goes to either an incubator or the chest, and then I don't know when the baby start eating or not, but I know they will go on breastfeed. Did the clinic give you the formula? Like when you get into a hospital, did they give you food? Did you go to the supermarket and grab whatever? Like,
So first of all, would you classify breast milk as food? Is milk food? Question. I'm like,
for a baby that is not allowed to chew food until a certain age, so for them it is.
yeah.
I don't know if it comes with the meal, if you're having surgery, I don't know.
So the twins were born and they went straight into incubators because they were twins. And they were bottle fed with formula, liquid formula already. And in the States, what you can do is you can buy pre-made formula or you can buy powder that you add to milk and then you stir it up and you turn that into formula that they then drink.
Yeah, but you said it like it comes with the incubator, or did you?
We were in the hospital, gave us the formula because it was part and parcel of what they were doing.
Okay.
Right. Now, we had a maternity nurse, which is somebody to come and help us to figure out what the hell we're doing because I had no idea.
Like a celebrity nanny.
Correct. Actually, she is a celebrity nanny. She does a lot of what she did was before the babies were born, said to us, okay, we need to go to a big superstore and we need to go and buy all this stuff, nappies or diapers, formula, liquid formula, powder formula.
Like after the babies are born?
Before the babies were born. So that when they arrived, we would have at least something. So clothing, like you need to buy them onesies. And also another thing that I didn't realize is onesies come with little mittens that you can fold their hands over because they have fingernails.
Yeah, they scratch your faces.
They scratch their faces. Alexander to this day has a scar here from when he was a baby and he scratched his face. So we went with her and we bought pre-made formula, so little bottles of formula liquid. And we also bought powdered formula.
Did she guide you? Did you know? Do you go to the supermarket and there's like an aisle of formula?
There's an aisle.
11 years ago. Now we even have vegan formula.
I'm sure we do.
Yeah, we do. There is vegan formula.
Yeah, we didn't do that. We went for, I don't even know. But there's formula with added vitamins. There's formula with different ages.
Don't they have people that sell breast milk?
So that's an option, but let's get to that in a second.
Like Cristobal Colon, that was breastfed by a slave.
It's called a wet nurse.
Okay.
But slightly different in the surrogacy sphere.
I don't know if that's a true statement, or I'm just...
But that's what they used to do in the olden days. You've got to remember that most children died before they were 2, which is why many people had baby after baby, because you'd have 10 and 8 might die because water was contaminated, food wasn't cooked properly. So that happens a lot. Thankfully, I now live in a country where that doesn't happen. So birth rates have dropped. But the formula itself comes in different stages for different ages. So you have newborn
Oh my God,
formula.
you can make a jingle out of it.
I'm sure I could. I'm not going to sing.
Different stages from different ages.
Anyway,
Is
so
it the same brand that you evolve with the same brand, or it's like a Taylor Swift album when she like goes from like childhood to
boy to
adult?
boy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. You can do the same brand or you can change brands. Now, I think they recommend you not to change brands because it can upset their tummies and do different things. But that's a really good point because in America, where my children were born, there was one formula. You couldn't get it in England. So we'd started them on one formula. We flew back to England. I had to change them, and they did have an upset tummy for a day, but they're hungry. They're going to eat whatever we gave them. So that change happened relatively quickly. But again,
So you couldn't bring like a pack of formula and just transition into a new one, or
we did, but of course you run out of one and you move into the other.
oh, you don't transition like half and half, or
We didn't.
I don't know.
No, we just used one and then moved on to the next. But yeah, it's formula's expensive.
That's another thing that I was reading about is that the cons or like the people that are against formula is because of pricing. And I was gonna ask, is it regulated? Can it be subsidized? Is it
No idea.
so it's like tampons, like you have to pay taxes on it, and
No.
the women have to pay. There's
Yeah.
no benefits on
Yeah.
their period protection, or
Hmm.
even I at my work, I just want to make sure that they have full of everything. They don't have to pay for because I care. But
Yeah.
the fact that you have to pay for taxes for necessities is so
But I
formula. I
don't
don't
think
know.
so because stuff in England, at least, stuff to do with children is generally tax free. So children's
So
books, children's
my things are all tax free.
children's clothing, I think up to the age of 10 is tax free.
Not
Shoes,
40.
milk is tax free. So maybe formula is. I don't know.
Wait, is milk tax free? Any milk?
I think so.
Oh,
At
that's
least
cool.
in England, I think. But yeah, but we spoke with our surrogate, and there is part of the conversation that you have when you're talking to the surrogate about this whole process. Is she willing to pump breast milk?
That was my question. Like, why didn't you make her just, she's gonna lactate anyways.
Because some women don't like to do it. She said she didn't want to do it.
Doesn't it hurt when you're full of milk and you get your clothes wet?
I don't know. I would assume
I would have
it's
just
got to
tell
be
it.
it's got to be painful. But what they do, so is a question, do you want to pump breast milk or do you not want to pump breast milk? And if you don't, then what we as intended parents could have done was to talk to the agency and say, hey, we want to do breast milk at some stage. Do you know anybody there that is donating breast milk? Are there breast milk banks? Because there are.
Oh,
In hospitals sometimes they have, because they do say that the first few days, the colostrum that comes out, the first few days, that is the most nutritious milk for a baby, and it's got antibodies and it's got high fat content and all these different things to help your baby start their life, really. But our surrogate said she didn't want to, so of course you can't force her to do anything she doesn't want to. It's her body, so we didn't do that, and we didn't go down the donated breast milk route or whatever it is. But again, this comes back into a conversation of what is best for your child and what is best for the surrogate. Now, we have to abide by what she wants to do. It's her body. I'm not going to sit there and say, you've got to do this. No, like she said, I don't want to do it. Okay, I respect that. You're an amazing human being for doing everything you're doing. I'm not going to pressure you into doing something you don't want to do. And so therefore she decided not to, and hence the formula. But had we have wanted to, we could have found a way to get that breast milk.
so is that said at the beginning?
Yeah, that's actually put into the contract that you sign. Again, it's unenforceable. If she says yes and then changes her mind, you can't force her to do it. But it is something that's put into writing up front because it's a conversation that you need to have.
That's interesting. And for how long do you have a kid in formula? Because I know you can breastfeed a kid until you run dry.
You can breastfeed a child for many years. I think that was coming back to your concept of wet nursing. There were women in the olden days, that's what they did. They would just keep breastfeeding. We kept formula until they could eat solid food. So what we did was they were on formula and then you start to mix, you mashing up. I remember the irony, they hate avocados now, but as babies, they loved avocados and butternut squash, and you'd whiz apples and just make it into a puree so that they could eat that. But yeah, you're with formula probably until about, I want to say about 7 or 8 months. So again, that's a lot of formula. Um,
And why it's funny, like why haven't we seen in one of those conferences anybody talking about formula or
I think it's purely because people are right at the start of their family building journey, not at the other end. I think if you go to a baby conference, then you would probably find a formula people there. I don't know. I've never been to one. Yeah.
that's interesting.
Because again, you've got, if you think about it, you go to the conference, you've got lawyers, agencies, clinics, you've got all the insurance, but that's all to do with getting to baby. It's not what you have after baby. And I remember going to a warehouse in London where this lady has, you walk in and they've got everything that you want. So you've got your cots and your prams and your food, clothing, it's all there. So you can walk in and in one swoop, just get everything.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Like a supermarket or like
It's a private warehouse and you go in and you can literally buy it all. I remember going in and buying bamboo cot mattresses. I don't quite know why I remember that, but I do.
and is there any stigma about it in the places of people that you have helped with? Do you have any conversations or issues about any stigma regarding formula?
I think in general, there is a stigma around formula, not necessarily anybody's to do with IVF and surrogacy, but I think the World Health Organization itself coined breast is best. Again, trying to promote breastfeeding and all those different things. We obviously, I couldn't breastfeed.
Because in Latin America, there is just, I don't know, it's looked frowned upon if you give formula to your baby. It almost means like you're not bonding with your kid, or your kid doesn't have the proper nutrition, or it could be not sanitary, or I do know that men having babies need to have formula.
Yeah, we don't produce breast milk. There is no option, right? We have to go to formula.
So,
We don't have to go to formula, as I've just said, but most people end up on formula because we don't produce the breast milk to be able to continue to do it. So it's either your surrogate's pumping, and remember, you're then flying home to wherever you live because the surrogate doesn't live in the same state as you,
that's
or
true.
in the same house as you, or in the same village as you, or the same town, or whatever. It could be that she's in California, I'm in London, or the intended parents are in Arizona, or whatever it is. They don't live close to her. So I think you can post breast
Oh,
milk.
yes, you can, because I've seen people that sell breast milk delivery, but in the US. Can you travel with breast milk? Like,
I think there was a rule change. So when we were traveling, if the formula, it was a liquid formula and it was sealed, you could take it on a plane if it was over the 100 milliliter.
like a cream.
Exactly. But what we ended up doing, there was this amazing thing that I bought at a pharmacy that you would scoop the powder into like one container with three compartments.
Yeah,
You would scoop it in.
a protein shake for workout.
It's a protein shake for the baby.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then you would put that into a bottle of water and shake it and give it to them.
Yeah, I remember also seeing it
Yeah.
and from my friends. So when a woman has their baby at 40 something, does that affect like breast milk? They steal breast milk, or they have to?
Again, I'm not a doctor, but I believe that when the baby is born, there is something released. I want to say oxytocin. I don't know. For some reason, my biology is coming back from school, but oxytocin or something is released that stimulates the body into producing breast milk.
When
And
you hear a baby cry, you get nipple wet.
you
I don't know.
don't know.
No,
Congratulate that.
I'm saying that if somebody goes through IVF and surrogacy, like eggs don't regenerate, but ovaries do. If you have somebody that had a baby at 50,
Yeah, I don't think it's the same as the uterus itself. If you remember, a woman has her period. So as the uterus regenerates, to your point, it regenerates. Eggs don't. So if a woman's uterus is okay and she's okay to carry, then body would just kick in as normal and do the job as it would normally do. So if she's 20 or 40 or 50, I think that she would still produce breast milk. Yeah.
That's
But
interesting.
my cousin, for example, actually works in a hospital as a latching specialist, which is helping people. Because again, oh, breastfeed, just put it on. It's not that simple. Breastfeeding is hard because you've got to train the baby how to attach or latch. You've got to then obviously make sure they don't fall off. Because you think about it, like baby's head is, this is like, nipples are huge, right, in comparison to their heads. So they're like,
I don't know.
I do remember watching my best friend breastfeed, and I was like, okay, I don't need to see this. I really don't want to see this. This is why I'm gay.
Yeah. But I
That's
think
not why I'm
everybody
gay,
should
but
be
you know
allowed
what I mean.
to. It's like our friend that had this stickers that you can put in places so you can go and breastfeed.
Yes. Oh, I'd forgotten about that.
Yeah.
Lolita.
Yeah. Alita has a very nice company that you just find out almost like a GPS, like what is your nearest boob station.
Breastfeeding station, a safe place for people to go and breastfeed. Because I remember sitting in Starbucks and there was a lady next to
And
me
did you
breastfeeding.
order a double
I,
macchiato
my
for
God,
baby?
do you think you can? Do you
I
think you can use
a
that? No.
double formula caramel grande.
But do you think you can use breast milk in coffee?
No,
What
but I
about
can totally see having like a Starbucks cup like this with bread formula.
I'm more about I wonder what it tastes like.
I'm like, oh, you've never formula or breast
Breast
milk?
milk.
Tastes really sweet
How do you know?
because I've tasted
When?
when
With whom?
my brother had two kids. I'm like, I've drank
Your
milk,
brother.
not his milk. I've drank milk from an animal, a cow. Why wouldn't I drink milk from a person? You just put it in a.
Do you think that's weird or is that just me? Should we
Oh,
do a
come
poll
on.
on that?
Yes, everybody have probably had. I'm not the only one that want to say I want to try. I want to know what it tastes like.
Okay. I've never tried breast milk.
It's sweet. It's just sweet milk.
I do, if I could get away with drinking just warm milk, I probably would. I don't really like coffee. I'm English, I drink tea, but I don't really like coffee. I'd much rather just
It
drink
is warm
sugary
milk.
milk.
But that's what it tastes like, sugar milk.
My new drink of choice. Back to what I was saying. I remember going into Starbucks and there was a lady, and you could tell she was embarrassed. She draped herself with this cloth and there's a baby underneath breastfeeding. And I was just like, why do you have to sit there embarrassed about doing this? Like that to me was a moment where I was like, "Grr." And our friend Lolita has done this. So she basically has gone to a bunch of companies in and around Spain that are happy to provide a safe environment for a woman who wants to breastfeed. And she can go in and there's a cubicle or a room and they can go and sit in there and it's all set up. And I think that's an amazing thing.
Yeah. Even if it wouldn't be an issue to breastfeed in public, you don't want to eat on the subway or eat walking. You want to sit down in a comfortable space to eat, right? You want to be comfortable and breastfeed or feed your baby with formula.
It's socially more acceptable to feed a baby with formula than it is to
Mm.
breastfeed.
It depends on where, because in Europe, I would think it would be lighter. Like you go to the beach and everybody's topless.
But you don't see them breastfeeding.
Mm. Yeah, that makes sense.
It's weird that, isn't it, if you think about it? Actually, interestingly, Sandra and Lulu are like, why are all these women not wearing tops?
Yeah, I know. The discretion and nudity in England is so strict. My family, all the girls never wore tops until they got their period.
So we're in Spain at the moment for the holidays and we're going to the beach and they're like, huh.
Yeah.
I do remember my mother once saying, I went up to her, I was like, Mummy, the woman over there's got no top on. And my mum's, yeah, and she, or bottoms. So she was completely stark naked.
And do you remember what brands of formula did you use
I do not.
to recommend people?
I think in England we used one called Aptamil, but I don't remember in the States. But I remember it came in little bottles that were amazing.
So it's not like a can of powder and you scoop it
You
up.
have both. So we had these little cans, they weren't cans, little plastic bottles that were already made up and they were specific sizes for newborns. I think it was like 60 milliliters or something. And you wanted to feed them as much as you could of that. And then as they get older, you're putting like one scoop of formula to X amount of water or two scoops, depending upon which one it is. Again, if you've got a 0 to 3 month or a 9 month old, that's different formulas and different quantities. Because what we did, our maternity nurse did, was she did sleep training, which meant that the children would eat a specific amount, drink a specific amount of milk or formula in the day, which is what they needed to grow. And then they would sleep during the night. And with formula, obviously, when they start to eat food and you're weaning them onto food, if they're doing a dream feed, which is when they wake up in the middle of the night, lights are off, feed them, try not to wake them, and then they just go straight back to sleep. So by, I think, 10 weeks, the children were sleeping through the night because she helped us to do that, which was amazing. Because I think one of the worst things about newborns is sleep deprivation. You just don't know what you're doing. And it can go on for weeks because they wake up in the middle of the night and they're hungry and they need to pee or they've pooped or whatever. It's this relentless cycle of
Wow.
yeah. So I would do the dream feed at, I think it was at 1 a.m. and then they would sleep.
That's interesting. I didn't know that. I don't remember ever hearing about. I guess we didn't have that in Latin America. You just have a baby crying in the middle of the night, and somebody has to wake up and feed them.
But what would you feed them?
I don't know because now that I realize it, my sister-in-law, she was telling me that one of the babies was getting like a rash from breast milk or upset stomach, so she had to like slowly transition into formula, or she didn't want to breastfeed, so she wanted to transition. I don't know.
It's got to be sore.
Yeah, it's just like they break your nipple, and then you have to put like a silver cups. So when you're sewing and then you don't want to cut your finger, you put it on your nipple to prevent it from getting infected.
Yeah, that's got to be sore. But I do remember one of the things that Desiree was saying was when you're bottle feeding, you can see exactly how much they're eating.
Yeah.
But when they're breastfeeding, you can't. So it's a bit of a, I guess they're full, maybe they're not. Whereas at least bottle feeding. So I wonder if you can, maybe this is how nighttime works. You breastfeed during the day, put it into a bottle, and then feed that at night.
And what's the difference of people that breastfeed directly from the breast versus pumping and just having it in the fridge? Because I've heard friends saying that they produce a lot of milk, so they have to pump a lot.
Yeah, you just put it into the fridge and then use that.
Maybe we can make a dessert out of that.
Tiramisu.
Like tres leches.
So yeah, so thank you for the question on breast milk. That's a very apt one because again, I didn't. Just to recap, we didn't breastfeed.
Yeah,
We went straight to formula.
and if you have any stories about formula and accidents or which formulas are better, especially now that I just realized that there are also vegan formulas, if anybody has any recommendations or thoughts on what is the deal with regular formula versus vegan formula and where does those nutrition values come from, that would be interesting to know.
Do you think formula is dried milk?
I don't really think is the whey protein. I don't think that's what formula is.
Actually, maybe I need to go and look.
That's a good question. What is formula?
We could Google it.
Or just maybe some formula company wants to clarify what's in their formula. That would be interesting to know. I know about diapers, but I don't know about formula.
What's in diapers? Poop.
No, some diapers have rashes. Some diapers are better than others. Some diapers are like.
But again, so diapers come in different sizes as they get older and older. And I remember having nappies. I do not ever want to go back to doing that.
That's another thing. Like the people that don't have suction or hermetic diaper trash cans, that the entire house smells like a diaper.
Stinks. We had one that you would put it in, twist it around so that there was the bag where the nappy went into would at least spin, and then that would trap in the smell. But oh my gosh, they smell.
I wonder what happened if you spray potpourri and the new poopery and the
poopery
in the bag and before you throw it.
The poopery.
Yeah.
Poop spray.
No, but if you spray the thing and
I
then
think our conversations generally always come back to poop.
Well, we're talking about food. It has to come out somewhere.
Can guarantee we have a conversation with the children and poop enters the conversation at some stage.
Yeah, they always blame me, but I'm not the one. But yeah, we always end up talking about poop or food.
Which is basically what we've just done with this. We started with food and we're ending with diapers. Yeah, exactly. But that was very interestingly though, girls, so Lulu potty trained super quickly. Like it's almost like she didn't want to sit in her own pee, whereas Xander was like me.
I
Like
don't,
literally a year later, she was out of nappies, she was done, she was like, no, we're good. And he was just really couldn't give less of a monkeys.
I remember I probably pee my bed until 11.
What?
Yeah.
You're a very deep sleeper.
No, yeah, I just didn't, I don't know.
Yeah, I
I
know.
didn't get, I bet I did. No, that's it.
You did what?
Nothing.
No. They want to know. Come on, you want to know?
No, ask questions and then I'll let you know later.
Come on, tell us,
No,
tell us,
no.
tell us.
But on that note, let's just figure out what's the difference between like American formula and European formula, and what are the recommendations that we can give to people that are having babies from one country and going to the other. Because that has to be okay. If you don't have the ability to have a, what do you call your
Maternity nurse.
maternity nest
Nurse.
nurse living with you?
Yeah. Lived with us 24/7
Oh my God.
for a few weeks. But that was, in all honesty, the best money I've ever spent. I had no idea what I was doing. None. And so she was like, this is how you wipe a baby's butt. Like girls, front to back. Because you need to wipe the poop away from the vajayjay, not the other way. Who knew that? Not me. And then how to put on nappy cream and how to dress them and how to do all these different things. It was, some people have their grandparents, some people have their families to help. I didn't have that.
Yeah.
So I ended up with Desiree.
Yeah, that is true. Some people, like most of any heteronormative family, have their moms or the husband mom or the wife mom coming in to help.
And actually, at the back of my book, now I think about it, there is a whole, in the appendix, there's a list of things for you guys to buy that you can literally just go and get, boom, and that will see you through for the first couple of weeks.
Yeah, that's good. If you have any other questions on things that happen after you get the baby and you have no idea you needed that, let us know.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Stay tuned. Keep watching on IVF Daddy's podcast and Instagram and TikTok. And we'll be here for your questions. Have a nice day.